Afternoon, folks, and welcome to a new Hobby Nightmares. You are halfway through the week. Congratulations to you. Well, you're halfway through the week if you're working a normal schedule, but I know not a lot of you are. But hey, there we go. Them's the breaks. Thank you very, very, very much to our lovely patrons of the day. I want to thank Vibratech, Court, David Brazel, Michael O'Brien, Daniel Wolfquist, Dreamcast UK 12, and Enigma. And also Eric Benz. Thank you very, very, very much. And also James Johnson, twice now. Get in contact with me, man. You're a £25 astral backer for mental health. So talk to me if you need me. I am here. And Michael A. McBroom, thank you very, very, very much for your very kind donations, of course, as per usual. So, today is a bit of a dark one. I did say I was going to do quite funny ones, but to be honest with you, I want to, like, block these together so we have a nice set of cool stuff, and then we have another nice set of cool stuff as we go on. So Thursday and Friday will be more funnier, happier stories, but today we are talking about something that I think is incredibly important. That is the flip side of the coin of what happens when one person buys another person models in the store. So, this is somebody who's changed the name, which is completely fine. They've changed the name to Seamus. They've asked that I use the name Seamus, so here we go, Seamus Y. And this is somebody who has run their own Games Workshop store. But hey, rather than me blabbing on, how about I just read the story? So, and by the way, me reading this in bed was a harrowing experience, let me tell you. He says, "Hey Exile, hello Seamus." He says, "So, a lot of your earlier videos cover people coming into your store and dropping money on people less fortunate than themselves. Kinda like the legends like Paul, who head in and spot a kid down on their financial luck and they decide to help them out. Well, I wanted to readdress the balance. How? Well, I used to run a Games Workshop store in Wales and I loved the job until, well, I didn't. But that's another story entirely. I may get into that another day. We had a lot of younger players coming in over the weekend, especially on Sundays, which was the Beginner's Day. I did Beginner's Day on a Sunday because I was off on Monday and Tuesday, and I treated it as my big energy blowout before I got to crash for my weekend, quote-unquote. Okay, so yeah, normally Games Workshop don't like you doing Beginner's Day, because they say every day should be a Beginner's Day. I mean, yeah, okay. When I was told that, I was very tempted to say, is there anything you guys do allow us to do that you like, apart from standing there and dry humping somebody until they buy something? Is there anything that we are actually allowed to do? But anyway, I digress. He continues, "There, we had a few regulars coming in on the Sunday, two of which were Dave and Phil, names have been changed, who would always come in and play on a separate table to the kids who were beginners, but would shout answers to questions from their own game. So if one of the kids has a rules question, Dave or Phil will shout out the answer to that question. Pretty cool. All right. I like regulars at that who come in and, you know, they take the weight off you, so to speak. Both of these gents were quite well-off IT professionals. The kind of job that is basically money for old rope, in brackets, being paid a lot for not doing very much, as people not versed in computers think their average coding and hardware skills are basically magic. They would both play Imperial Guard and hammer the crap out of each other with artillery before calling it a day most Sundays. There was something off about them though. Generally the way they carried themselves was a little weird with the kids in the store. They would hug them and generally chase them around the store when I was not there, and it took one staffer coming to me to talk about it after their shift that got me to come in on a Sunday that I was supposed to be off on to have a look. Sure enough, Phil and Dave would provide advice and were being chummy with the lads by putting their arms around their shoulders, hugging them from behind as congratulations for good rolls, things like that. Weird, but I wanted more evidence before acting, so kept my suspicions to myself for now. A few weeks later, of constant surveillance from us, had turned up nothing aside from these two blokes were just overly friendly. They only played on Sundays and were generally very handsy with each other as well as other players, so worth looking at, but nothing to act on just yet. I'm not sure I agree, dude. Somebody hugs kids in my store that aren't related to them. I'm pulling them aside and saying that's not on. That's weird. I don't want that in my store, right? I imagine, like, if you're a parent and you come in and you see an adult doing that to your kid when, you know, they don't know them, that would freak me out. I wouldn't like that at all. So, I'm guessing this is back in the day, way back in the day when things were different, you know? Things were a bit different, but, yeah, 21st century, especially 2010s onwards, that is a bannable offence. Don't touch kids that aren't any related to you. In fact, don't touch kids at all. But, you know, if it's your son and you're happy that he's winning, yeah, hug him, do whatever you want, you know what I mean? Like, hug him, pat him on the head, whatever. It's your child. But if there is a child there that does not belong to you, who you don't know, yeah, keep your hands to yourself. This one Sunday, a kid in the store, Jamie, was into Tao in a big way, but his mum was not that well off, and wouldn't you know, Phil and Dave chipped in to get him a full 2,000 point army. I am talking 500 quid's worth of stuff, easy. I rang it through the till, and was generally conflicted. Jamie was so happy and almost crying, and all Phil and Dave wanted was a hug and to be friends. So I let it go for now. Even Jamie's mum was overjoyed, as she was generally unable to get him models. I decided to keep watching these guys, but hey, if they wanted to buy armies for everybody, especially the new stuff like Tau, it's more money in my till. Ooh. Okay, yeah, I mean, if Tau is new, then this is way back in the day. This is like the very early noughties. But, yeah, man, that is, You're taking a risk there, my friend. You're taking a serious, serious risk. Not worth it, in my opinion. Definitely never, ever, ever put the welfare of kids below profits. I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but just in case the story goes that way, never, ever, ever do that. Like, the safety should be paramount. Anyway, fast forward a few weeks, and I have a new staffer in called Claire, starting, and she covers the Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday for the next 2 weeks to get her feet under the table, so to speak. I have been on holiday for a week in her second week, but I keep getting texts from the other staffers that Claire really seems to not get on with Phil and Dave, like, at all. When I come back from holiday, on her third Sunday, she pulls me aside before our shift, and says Phil and Dave have been escalating their behaviour, and she asks me to to stay around in the back and act like I am not in that Sunday as per usual and see for myself. Right, so he's hanging around in the back and watching people in the store rather than being on the store floor, on the shop floor. Fair enough. I do so, he says, watching from the doorway to the back that is slightly ajar. I see Phil and Dave hugging the lads as per usual, but I also see Dave having a sneaky smell of hair. Oh no. I see Dave caress shoulders and things like that. Oh dear, man. What are you still doing out in the back? Get out there. Finally, I see Phil go up behind Jamie after a good roll and hug him from behind. When he pulls away, I see a definite non-natural bulge in his pants. Oh. If the next two sentences are not you kicking down the door and taking these guys to task, me and you are going to have serious fucking words. I come out of the back, hooray! I come out of the back room and point to both Phil and Dave, and I ask to have a word. They come back with me, and I call Alan, another staffer who is larger than all of us put together, to come up with me. Good. I explain in the staff room that their behaviour is completely beyond the pale and that they need to leave the premises immediately. No picking up their models, no talking to anybody, they are leaving out the back door right now. I tell them that if I hear of anything like this going on in any other hobby clubs that they frequent, I will be calling the police. Alright, well they're getting off lightly, but, you know. Again, I read this a few weeks ago and it's been in this pile for a long time, so I've forgotten a few things that happened. This is when Claire comes to the door and asks to see me. It seems Jamie is downstairs in tears. Oh god. I do something no one should do as a manager of Games Workshop. I tell my staff to lock Phil and Dave in the stock room. I am leaving Alan and Claire alone with them, and I am not putting them in danger by having them between these two perverts and the police. Okay, yeah, you should never lock people in anywhere in Games Workshop because it can be classed as kidnapping. I know it's weird, but it can be. You're not allowed to detain people, but I can understand why you did it. I understand your reasoning. I head downstairs with my staff outside the stock room to go and see Jamie. He is hyperventilating near the display case surrounded by our hobbyists and keeps trying to cover his face in his shirt. I ask him to come with me quietly and talk and take him towards the back. He goes ballistic. I realise that is where he has seen Phil and Dave go, so I take him outside to talk instead, for some nice fresh air. There he explains that a week ago, Phil and Dave took him home from the local hobby club on a Thursday night to his mum's house, but stopped somewhere to chat, quote unquote. Whilst there, they made advances on him and touched him inappropriately until he told them to knock it off, and eventually they drove him home. Jesus Christ. Since then, he has felt ashamed and not sure what to do. Yeah, no shit. I immediately called the police first and his mother a distant second. Before I go on, people are going to call him out for that. He's done the right thing. Because for all you know, this mother has been charmed by these two. So it's best to get the police to come and take his statement first and then call his mother afterwards. You know what I mean? Like, they come in and get the statement and then you call his mother in and she can come up and pick up the pieces. But yeah, get these guys out of there first and make sure that this kid's safe first. I immediately called the police first and his mother a distant second. Here we go. I didn't want to risk her whisking him away so he cannot give a statement to the police. The police get there and take his statement before heading upstairs and placing both Dave and Phil under arrest and escorting them from the premises out the back way. We saw neither Wargamer again and ended up sending their models back to them in the post. That's good of you to do that. I mean, Jesus Christ, I just chucked him in the bin. Jamie never came back to Games Workshop. I can only guess what this did to his view of the hobby and the view of his mother to those who were into Warhammer. Although she was very grateful we caught it before things escalated even further. Anyway, a bummer I know, but I wanted to do the opposite side of the story. I hope things are going well over there. And don't worry, Jamie, name changed, will be a grown man by now, such was the time frame of this story. Still, nasty. Cheers, North. Have a good one. I mean, Jesus, man, that is an absolute bummer of a story for anybody wanting the hobby to be put into a good light. But this is the kind of thing you've got to watch out for. I mean, I have said before, but I have had people come into my store and buy stuff for kids before. These have always been people who have not done anything inappropriate, and on more than one occasion they've come in, checked out the store, saw that one kid was struggling, bought them something and left and was never seen again. You know what I mean? That's all cool. But these are behaviours that you have to watch out for as a Games Workshop manager. I hope that you called his mum, like, shortly after calling the police. Like, call the police first, make sure they're on their way, right? And then after, give it 5 minutes and then call his mum. Don't leave it for hours, for God's sake. So have his mum get there whilst the police are there, so at least the police can say to her, listen, we need a statement from him or we can't keep him safe. You know? That kind of thing. But it looks like you handled it especially well. You should have come into this a lot closer to the start of this, though, so I don't know whether I would have had the self-discipline. I would be going home every single day, worried that these two are going to bring my store's reputation into disrepute, but that's just me. It worked out well in the end, but my God, dude, you were taking a risk. And what do you guys think? Have you seen any sort of inappropriate behaviour at stores? Have you seen anything that's really freaked you out? Games Workshop is unfortunately one of those places that is a breeding ground for degenerates like this. So, you know, have you seen anything? Has somebody ever knocked you off as like a bit of a weird one? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. Patrons down below. Become a member of the channel. Like the video, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Love you all long time. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will either see you for a stream tomorrow, or I will be seeing you for more Hobby Nightmares on Friday. So I will see you then. Have a good one.